Hi, I'm Courtney.
And I'm Nate, and welcome to the Mono-Poly Couple YouTube channel, where we talk about life, love, and relationships. As always, thanks for joining us today. All right, topic for today, Courtney. What are we talking
Story
about?
time. You guys have seemed to love our first story time that we did. So we are going to talk about a big mistake.
Yes.
So this story time is, not something that I'm proud of per se.
Yeah, it's a story of a mistake Courtney made kind of initially when we
Yes.
were beginning this journey, I
Yeah.
guess, or when she was beginning the journey. And so just, we get a lot of comments and, thank yous for how, we've sort of figured it out over time. And we want to share a story when we didn't have it figured out and kind of what happened and how we've gotten better since then. So, again, we do our best. We're not always perfect, but this is a story where we learned a lot, and it's important to share that mistakes have been made and we're not always perfect, and that we've grown over time. And so we want to share that as well, not just, everything's happy and we're so great, all the time. So.
And it's also something that I talk about in my book, which is coming out in February.
Yes.
It's called Opened. It's a memoir on this whole journey of opening my marriage, but also really looking at themes like purity culture and patriarchy and all those fun topics. But we were trying to figure out, okay, when I look back on our polyamory journey, like my polyamory journey, us together, this is one of those things that really sticks out that I handled so poorly. Poorly.
Yes, that's fact.
Okay, so before we begin, are you subscribed? We would love for you to subscribe. So if you are not subscribed, please follow us. We love the comments. We love the interactions. Even if you disagree, we really appreciate respectful dialogue. Or if you have anything specifically you want us to do a video on or answer, whether that's individually or together, let us know and we'll make it happen.
Yes. All right.
Okay, so set this scene up. So this is March of 2022.
Yes.
Yeah, a while ago. And a couple years ago. And I was flying back from the US back to Germany. And I had on my way to Germany, or from Germany to the US, the first flight.
Okay.
I had stopped and had a date with somebody who I had been talking to because he lived in Amsterdam.
Yeah. So Courtney had a connecting flight through Amsterdam and then continued on. So had a break or some time in Amsterdam and then continued on to the US.
Right. And so we just went for a walk, had coffee. I thought that it was going to be better than it was, and it really wasn't, but I really liked him from texting.
Yeah.
But the in-person date was disappointing. So on the way back, I was like, okay, we'll have another date. And we had a discussion and realized that there were some fundamental differences that we had. And that date was not going to happen. But I had already extended my layover to be spending the night in Amsterdam. And so, Nate, what did you tell me to do?
I said, have a great time in Amsterdam. Have fun. Like, you deserve it. I know your date that you were going to have isn't going to happen. And Courtney really enjoys the city of Amsterdam, just the whole vibe, everything about it. And I said, have a great time. Period. End of my statement, basically.
So what I took that to mean was, go have a great time and do whatever that means for you. So little backstory, if you're new here, I grew up in the evangelical Christian church. We got married young, 22, 21. I had never had sex with anyone besides Nate before we got married. I was very sheltered, very conservative, and fast forward, now we have an open marriage. I had never had a one-night stand before, and I wasn't looking for that per se. I was really looking for a connection. I mean, looking back now, I was really just avoiding my feelings and my frustrations and my disappointment from that relationship with that guy that I had the date with, from that not working out. But it was a lot more fun getting back on the dopamine addicted app than doing the work and spending time with myself. Like, I wanted a distraction.
Which is what I was going for when I said, have fun, just enjoy Amsterdam. I didn't say that specifically, but that's what I meant. And again, we had just opened the marriage or the relationship, I guess.
Yeah,
again, I'm monogamous.
7 months, yeah.
Courtney is not. She's now polyamorous, but we weren't sort of defining it as that. So that's the background. What happened in Amsterdam and how did it go?
So it was, stayed on the apps. I liked the attention that I got. It made me feel good and made me fill this void that I was basically not getting from this guy that I thought was going to lead to something. And matched with this guy who said that he was open to something long term, but he really wasn't. I think he was just lying. And, Nate, I met this guy for a drink, and he said he'd give me a ride back to my hotel. And Nate called on the way that we were going back to my hotel room, and he was, how did you feel?
Shocked was one word, because it was not what I expected when I called her.
Nope.
And I would say frustrated and angry is probably the other way to put it. It was totally unexpected. I was not clear with what I thought was going to happen, and I don't know if Courtney was clear either. And so that was a huge miss on the communication. We were not on the same page there.
Yeah.
So,
and it also was, for me, looking back too, I was not making choices based out of love for myself or love for our relationship. I was doing it because I was in pain and I was hurting. And I was so tired of men telling me what I could and couldn't do with my body. Like, this is like decades of conditioning and baggage bringing into my marriage. And it felt like I had the opportunity to make a decision for myself. And that felt empowering, and that felt brave, and it wasn't. Looking back, I would have handled it completely differently. Obviously, that's easy to say, hindsight 2020 now. But the choice to, spend time with this man wasn't as exciting and fun as I thought it was going to be. And it hurt Nate and really eroded the trust in our relationship. And that really hurt me even more, because we had worked so hard to get to a really good place where he was starting to get more comfortable with it and being more supportive. And I was still trying to figure things out. And that felt like we stepped significantly back because of my choices.
Yeah, again, I had encouraged her to do the layover, to have the date, because the first date was only okay, but it was only for an hour or something. And so I was like, sure, just, because it wasn't much of a difference in price, and the timing was not a big deal because she was going to get in super late anyway. So it really wasn't a change for us. And so I was encouraging her and I was supporting her. And then this really was a step back. For sure.
So it required so much rebuilding and also just examination of myself. I did not do a good job of continuing to examine my own issues. I just we got back, I got back, I repaired things with, Nate as best as I could and kept trying to build trust, but I really didn't do the kind of work that I should have done on myself to see what was motivating me, and dealt with my feelings about purity culture and patriarchy that were really fueling my anger. And I felt like kind of like acting out in those ways was an empowering way, even though now I see it wasn't. So it was a learning experience, lots of feelings, lots of emotions when you're trying to deconstruct your entire life and faith in, short periods of time, and also feel like you're finally connecting with the most authentic part of yourself that's been hidden for forever. So that is one of the biggest mistakes that we've had. And I take full responsibility for my choices in that. Nate was very angry and wouldn't talk to me for a day or so.
Yeah, maybe 2 days. I mean, we talked.
Well, I think it was like a day.
The ability to take care of the kids and family and things, but about what happened and what I would consider terrible choices that Courtney made at the time, at least.
Yeah.
And so that was really, really hard because we had built this trust and it was getting better, and we were, I thought on the, like I said earlier, like kind of communicating and what, the intentions were. And then that really eroded it. Obviously things are significantly better. And as Courtney said, like it's more out of love and trying to find something that works for all of us now. But it was really about trying to take back some of her power and some of her control that may have been taken away by years of conditioning and culture. And so it wasn't just she was doing it to spite me or to make the relationship not work or whatever it was, but it was a really challenging, episode in this journey that we wanted to share with you guys.
So Thank you for your patience and continuing to love
Yes.
me despite my, there are a lot of growing pains as you transition and you unlearn compulsory monogamy. And it is something that requires a lot of patience and grace, and you will make mistakes. The important part is that you communicate, and I cannot emphasize how important self-awareness and doing your own inner work, understanding your attachment style, like all of the things really is important.
Yes, agreed.
Yes, and having a partner, whether they're monogamous or non-monogamous, that you're on that journey. That was a tough time, and I'm really proud of us for, okay, it's just a growing pain. We're going to work through it and figure it out, and we did, and we continued to, and that just seems like such a that version of us, or me, seems like such a long time ago.
Yes, so... Well, thank you for joining us again today.
Yeah, thanks for
we have
Storytime.
more stories like this, but the important part is that you're not alone on this journey. Please, thank you again for liking and subscribing, and have questions, please put them in the comment box. We'll do our best to get to them. So, and as we always say,
Can't stop, won't stop.
Thank you.
Bye.